Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about everyone's favorite punching bag code, because if there's one thing that Naruto and Boruto fans can come to an agreement on, despite the civil war that we have with Naruto fans hating Boruto fans and vice versa, they all can agree that Code has been a walking disappointment from the moment he ever left the Ten Tails. You had Amado gaslighting Kawaki that Naruto couldn't defeat Code after Naruto lost Kurama, only for us to see Boruto tagging Code in their fight long before Momoshiki ever took over Boruto's body. While some of it was Code toying around with Boruto, the fact that he was even getting tagged and had people raising eyebrows when it came to Code, and ever since he got his limiters removed, people have been less than impressed with him, with there being some fans who ask, has Code truly gotten all of his power removed? Well, join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video, where we're going to take a look at that topic, and hopefully by the end of the video, I'll have won you guys over to my stance on that argument. So jumping right into the question, does Code have his full power removed, or did Amado pull another sussy baka move and only remove part of his power, potentially only say 90% of his power, which would be potential enough to fool someone like Code? After all, Code's not the smartest guy out there into thinking that he was back at full power. So my personal stance on this whole controversy is that Code is indeed at full power, but I'll explain to you guys why I feel so certain about that Code is at full power later on in the video. But for now, I want to take a look at the argument that people have made for why they so strongly believe that Code is not at full power, that Code is currently nerfed. The reason is going to be based off of the anecdotal evidence that I have, where people have shared with me their concerns Code's not at full power. This is based off of what I've read down in the comment section down below. So the reason for this, it just comes down to the fact that Code, after he got his limiters removed, he promptly got beaten down by Damon, who didn't even have to use his reflection jutsu after Code was told the weakness of it. And Damon's just beating the guy by throwing straight hands at him. No hacks abilities, no trickery, just speed blitzing the guy so fast he can barely react, and he's slapping him around. At one point, he's stomping the guy on the ground and he's literally yelling yeehaw like he's a toy horse that he's riding on. In the aftermath of that battle, you had Ada flat out saying after she watched Code battle that if he ever went after Kawaki, that she would be the one to kill him. Both cyborg siblings, they looked at Code without limiters and proceeded to say, yeah, this dude, he isn't as advertised, light work, next victim. This is what many people refer to as being the low point for Code without limiters. This hyped up power level of someone who is stronger than Jigen. He had zero aura. Gone was the hope that he would have the aura of Jigen, who is dancing around the battlefield like a ballerina. He's slapping around Naruto's shadow clones. At one point, he's giving one of Naruto's clones his chakra rod in order to hold it while he could spin around and attack the other clone, then take the chakra rod back. And he's even giving Sasuke a critique mid-battle about his perfect Susanoo, saying, hey, this is the famed legendary ultimate defense of the Uchiha clan. His strength is pretty impressive, but what about his speed and his defense? The speed looks pretty slow, so how about we check out the durability? And then he proceeded to shatter the perfect Susanoo with only one kick, and didn't even feel the need to brush the dirt off of his sandals either. He even flexed on Naruto and Sasuke after leaving them near unconscious, Sasuke coughing up blood, unable to stand up, and Naruto struggling to get on his feet. The man had the nerve to be so disrespectful to ask them were they done wasting their chakra. People, they expected that level of disrespect coming from Code, because Naruto, he had just lost Kurama, and Sasuke, he had just lost the Rinnegan. So he seemed poised to be unleashed on the ninja world as a straight goon, yet the expected goon ended up being revealed as being a goof. When the time skip happened, we watched him pull up to Konoha with a whole army, and when his army wasn't getting destroyed by Kawaki and Sarada and Boruto, he himself was being bullied by Boruto, who was toying with him from the very start. teleporting on top of this man and stepping on his scar that Sasuke left on his face. At one point, Boruto gave the same assessment of Code that Ada and Damon did, which is that killing Code, it would be easy. Even his own creations, the awakened Shinju, they are openly mocking him. Matsuri flat out called him a clown, a literal clown to his face, and was seemingly laughing as she did so. When we saw that Sasuke was able to attack Code, a source of much undeserved controversy, which I'm going to interject this case for Code being nerfed and that whole argument to address this whole issue directly, which is that Code, he's in base here and he has a tendency to play around with people he's fighting, as in fight down to their level. Nowhere in that manga panel was he ever using the Karma Seal. And Damon in the manga does not directly scale him over Jigen until Code starts using the Karma Seal. Sasuke in this same chapter is literally telling Boruto after damaging Code that they cannot beat Code, which is damning information. Now back to the case at hand for Code is nerfed. Ryu, the second awakened Shinju made out of Shinki's chakra. He was only alive for like a whole 20 seconds, had only just gotten his name from Jura before he's out there holding Code hostage like he's a Disney princess, and when he left, Ryu was openly asking for permission to kill Code. The next time he saw him in Jura, the guy who gave Code permission to live said he was going to give his life purpose, which that's so disrespectful. He said, sure, go right ahead, kill him next time you see him. For many people, that level of disrespect that's been shown to Code over and over again, and the lack of impressiveness from his battle. That is why people are saying this guy can't possibly be stronger than Jigen. It is an argument that is deeply rooted in feeling, emotion, not necessarily based off of the context clues of the story itself, where it's directly stated that he is stronger than Jigen, but due to how easily he got destroyed, Code just seems like he's an afterthought. He's that sneaky link that you hit up, you smash, and then you move back to your main girl and you don't think about the sneaky link until it's time to get your rocks off again. Fans, they wanted to see Code unleashed, but they were given nothing except for a set of hopes and prayers. So what exactly about that made me so certain that any concern that he's not at full power is adamantly wrong? So why am I so certain that Code's at full power and he hasn't been nerfed at all? Like the way that, say, Kawaki was just revealed in the last chapter, and we learned that Amado had placed limiters on Kawaki, so why not limiters on Code? Well, the reason, or rather reasons, are pretty simple in my opinion. We've seen in Naruto's manga before that when characters are aware of how much power they've been given access to, they are intimately aware of it. When Tobirama and Hashirama were brought back to fight Hiruzen, they knew they weren't at full power. When Orochimaru reanimated the Edo Tensei Hokage, they too knew they were not at full power, with Tobirama flat out saying that while they were closer to their full power, they weren't at full power, suffering the same fate as all the other Edo Tensei that Kabuto used. They were near full power, but they weren't quite there. That could be 95%, 99%, that's up to you to discern what Tobirama's getting at there. It stands to reason that Code knows exactly where his full strength lies. And in the manga, when Amado says the verbal command to get his limiters removed, Code declares that it feels good to have his power and that he won't lose to anyone again, which is ironic because neither Ada or Damon looked impressed when he powered up, outside of Damon saying cool white hair. You also have the issue of Ada to contend with here as well. She was still in an alliance with Code at that point in the story. She hadn't been given the offer by Amado to join forces as allies yet either. At that point in the story, she still had every reason to allow Code to prove himself as being useful to her in her pursuit of Kawaki to be brought into her. Yet she didn't have to say anything when Amado removed Code's limiters. She was silent. And I do believe that had Amado not removed the full limiters, she would have known. The other reason is that Code, from the moment he was stated to have the hidden power that went over Jigen's power level, the story was warning us and giving us warning signs that Jigen levels of power, while they are strong, those levels of power were only going to be serving as benchmarks since we are so clearly close to the Boruto time skip, which that ended up being the case. That's why I was warning people as early as when Ada was talking crazy to Code after he fought Kawaki, but before he got his limiters removed, that hey, Code's going to be fodder even when his limiters are taken off. It became what Jonin and Kage level was back in Naruto. In part 1, that level of power was a big deal, but then multiple characters started getting to those tiers of power because it was what was needed as an entry point in order to be able to fight the various Akatsuki members that you saw that the story was engaging characters with. Characters who were already considered Kage level in Naruto Part 1, they were subsequently upscaled in Part 2 because that's how scaling works. You take the information shown in the form of statements and feats, and then you adjust this. You get new information and new statements, and you upscale the characters as the story calls for the progression, as it shows you progression. To keep it short, it's like how Super Saiyan was this much hyped up thing, only for the next arc after the powers introduced, it was turned into fodder. What happened to Code, it is a very similar thing, because it was needed to show how strong the other villains and antagonists, and in the case of Damon, neutral characters were. The story did a good job of establishing how strong Jigen was. It left a memory imprint on you. It allowed you to immediately start placing the new antagonists and characters on a sliding scale and do the same thing for characters like Damon, who were revealed to not be at full power. He is merely a benchmark, nothing more, nothing less. Had Amado not removed his full power, that information would have been revealed when he spoke to Ada after Code left, or when Konoha was preparing for their fight against Code. If he was weaker than Jigen, Konoha would have taken a more aggressive approach in dealing with them instead of a passive defensive approach. We also have Damon, who was being used as a vehicle for the story to tell us as the audience that Code was indeed stronger than Jigen. The only way Damon could possess and assess this information is if he had previously fought Jigen before, because he would have had something to measure Code's power against. And it seems likely that this is the case because Jigen is written as telling the Ten Tails he needs to borrow more power this time. As in, this is not the first time that Jigen's ever juiced up on Ten Tails chakra to amp his abilities before a fight. There's a lot surrounding the humans that Amado made into cyborgs to fight against Jigen, including how they were taken down, and it's a plot point we'll probably explore later because Amado stated it was several humans that he made into cyborgs above Jigen, a pair of siblings that's not several. Technically, if you want to count Code, by the definition of several, that would be between 3 to 7, so it is possible that there aren't more. A trio would count as several, but we can't say with certainty that this is the case. I personally think Code, he's at full power. He's just, for the time being, he is a benchmark villain. Those happen in Shonen, they exist in Shonen. That does not mean he cannot come back stronger later. That does not mean he can't be upscaled later. I just think it's very likely that right now he's a benchmark, but based on the fact that Kishimoto wanted to kill Code in part 1, and Ikimoto fought tooth and nail to keep Code alive, it means that somewhere down the line, Code's gonna be relevant again. But for now, I think Code is what he's always been, a tool that has been used by others. In universe, he was a tool for Jigen, and then Ishiki, and now Jura. For the narrative, he's always been a tool to show what the true power of karma looks like to Boruto and to Kawaki, and he was a tool to show the strength of others who are beyond Jigen. In short, he is a stock character serving his purpose, which I know that's gonna piss some Code fans off and make them mad, but if you are mad, I'd hope watching this Naruto Explained video on the left can at least cheer you up a little bit, or clicking here on the right to watch this video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.